Hi everybody, going to be doing a little video here answering a letter we got to the ministry P.O. box. That's a good way to get a hold of me because I can see your letter, read the whole letter, read every letter that comes in, and then I can take my time to go to the scriptures and get an answer for you. I don't have an email address because it's just quick. People can copy and paste all kinds of stuff and it gets really annoying. But have something's going on up top of the wood pile here. What do we have over here? Two crazies that like to climb on top of the wood pile. Come here, Luther. Oh, he's going to jump down. Come here, Luther. Luther. Here he comes. He's all excited. There's stuff in underneath the wood pile, I'm sure. But you can get down, Oliver. They've been having a great time climbing up on the log pile there. But getting back to the subject of the video. The subject is when to quit praying for a lost relative. When should you quit praying for a lost relative? In plainer words, a lot of us, there are people that are in our lives, be they a relative or co-worker or old friend or something like that. And I have to keep an eye on Luther out here near the road. And you pray for them and you pray for them. And you want them to get saved, you see some good things happening, and then they go kind of back the other way sometimes. And you try to just keep praying. But after about a year or so of that, sometimes a few years, you kind of get a little bit impatient, I guess you could say. Is there something in Scripture that says when you should stop to pray for a lost person? I was going through the Scriptures, I was thinking about this, and I thought, well, what about the thing where Jesus talks about, 70 times 7? That would be Matthew chapter 18, verse 22. Well, that's talking about forgiving a brother. That's not talking about praying for a lost relative. So, there he is. So that doesn't work. How often shall I forgive my brother? Till 7 times? Jesus says, no, that's till 70 times 7. That's when you should forgive your brother. Well, that's not the same as praying for a lost relative. What about 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17, where it says, pray without ceasing? Well, see, that's a good thing there. Well, that's just in general. It doesn't mean that you should pray for somebody without ceasing. It's just simply saying, make sure you're always praying about whatever situation. Pray for healing, pray for the Lord to help you out of a situation, pray about the interpretation of a passage of Scripture. What's that? Oh, there's Oliver riding his bicycle. Starting to get kind of warm out. It's about 50 degrees out here. Still have snow on the ground though, as you'll see in a minute. But that one doesn't work either. It's just, like I said, it's just a general admonition to pray without ceasing. It doesn't mean pray without ceasing for a lost relative. So what do we have left then? We have Acts chapter 18. You'll see a thing in Scripture here. Acts chapter 18. Let me get to it. Acts 18. Verse 5 and 6. And when Silas and Timotheus were come from Macedonia, Paul was pressed in the Spirit and testified to the Jews that Jesus was Christ. And when they opposed themselves and blasphemed, he shook his raiment and said unto them, your blood be upon your own heads. I am clean, from henceforth I will go unto the Gentiles. Okay, so what's the precedent there? Well, he witnessed to somebody, they opposed themselves. That's what happens when somebody rejects the Lord. You're opposing yourself. And they blasphemed the Lord. And so he said, I'm going to keep on praying for you, friend. I'm going to keep praying for you until you finally get saved. No, he shook his raiment and said, your blood's upon your own self. I'm clean from you. I'm going to somebody else. And the other place I want to go to is in the book of Mark. And I'll get here real quick. Mark chapter, what I've written down here. 6. Mark chapter 6, verses 10 and 11. We'll go there next. Mark chapter 6. I have to hold the camera in one hand. Try to turn here, but Mark chapter 6. Went one page too far. Trying to get to it. While I'm turning to it, you can look here behind me and see the wood pile. We're getting a lot more firewood done. Alright, Mark chapter 6, verses 10 through 11. And he said unto them, In what place soever ye enter into an house, there abide till ye depart from that place. And whosoever shall not receive you, nor hear you, when ye depart thence, shake off the dust under your feet for a testimony against them. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Okay? Now, obviously, he's speaking there about he's sending his disciples out. It's not quite the same thing as what we have today. I understand that. I'm a dispensational preacher. I get it. Rightly divide the word of truth. Doctrinally, it's in the Old Testament. He's there. He's presenting the gospel of the kingdom. We don't have that same setup today. But as far as instruction in righteousness is concerned, you can look at that and you can say, the Lord, when he's sending out his disciples, he's not saying to them, you just stay there and you just keep on preaching to them and you just keep on speaking to them and you don't quit for any reason. That's not what the Lord's saying. The Lord is saying, okay, I want you to speak to them, and if they don't hear you, then you shake off the dust under your feet for a testimony against them and you say, I'm clean from your blood, I'm sorry, whatever. You're not listening, and I can't help you. And that's what you do. And so my advice to you, to the brother that sent that, when you pray for a relative and the relative does not listen and they refuse to listen and you keep trying and trying, there's a point where you just wash your hands and you walk away and you just say, whatever, there's anything I can do about it. We were watching one of my older videos this morning at breakfast, and I brought up the thing about our neighbor that we had, who's a Roman Catholic, and he was always drunk, and I tried very hard to witness to the guy, really prayed about it and everything else, really wanted to see the guy get saved. I mean, we gave him gospel tracts, we did all kinds of things, and finally had the chance to witness to him, and he just completely rejected the gospel that I told him about and things, and I just said, okay. And I remember I walked away and I said, Lord, I'm washing my hands of this guy. I had a few times where I should have witnessed and I didn't, or whatever else, I had some guilt about that, but I finally just said, I got my chance, I made it clear, he rejected, I'm done, I can't keep going, Lord. And I felt peace. And I have some relatives that same kind of a thing. My wife, she's witnessed to her parents and things, and she still has a burden for them, but we've just gotten to the point where we say, well, they know, they clearly know, and that's the whole thing. Make sure before you wash your hands that the person that you're witnessing to, that you say, I'm going to stop praying, make sure before you do that, that they clearly understand the gospel. You've given them a tract, you've given them a Bible, you've sat down with them, whatever. You've laid it out clearly. There's no confusion. All right? You get to that point, they still say no, wash your hands. Okay? Why? We're busy. You know what I'm saying? One of the things about this firewood back here, there's times you'll get a piece of wood that the grain is just all knotty and just nasty and whatever. You try to split it with a splitting maul and it just boink, bounces off. You try it again, wham, you hit harder, and you just keep trying to work a line across or split from the outside in. There's different techniques that you can do, and you just try everything, and that piece of wood is just nasty. It will not split for anything. And you try maybe putting a steel wedge into it, and it just nothing works. And at that point in time, what I've learned over the years, don't keep beating on the piece of wood. Use a chainsaw, saw it into firewood lengths that way. There's different techniques that you can use. But my point is, comparing physical to spiritual, sometimes you can get the biggest piece of wood in there and you think, oh, this thing's going to take forever to split. You hit it one time, boom, it breaks in half. I didn't think that would happen. Other times you get a piece that's smaller, you think, easy, this will be easy. You go to split it, it just boom, and bounces off. And there are times you'll witness to somebody and they're receptive and they'll hear it and they'll say, oh, let me think about that, or thank you, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pray, I'm gonna ask the Lord to save me, or and you think, wow, that went easier than I thought. Other times you see somebody who seems to be very religious and you think, this shouldn't be hard, and it's just terrible. It's like pulling teeth, as they say. It just doesn't work. You can't get anywhere with these people. So my advice is, make sure that the gospel is clearly presented to the person. If it has been, then go do something else. Okay? And that's another piece of advice for doing firewood as well. There are times I've tried to split a piece and it just does not want to split, and I'll just take it and throw it off to the side. I'll get back to it some other time. So, but that will be it. Hopefully that answers your question. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any other things down there, any of the brethren want to comment on this and say your experiences with witnessing to a hard-hearted relative or whatever else. I like to read the stories. I'm sure other people like to read it too. Bear ye one another's burdens and so fulfill the law of Christ. We're supposed to look and say, yeah, I went through that same kind of thing, and I'll tell you my story here, and it's encouragement. We can be thankful for YouTube for that reason. There's some encouraging stories on here. So that is going to be it. Thank you for watching.